Hello, my children. Hope you are very fine. Today, I want to start a new topic called Vegetation of Uganda. This topic, you had it in primary 4, and so I want to look at it also in primary 5. Vegetation of Uganda. It is our 4th topic. In this topic, we need to know the meaning of vegetation. What is vegetation? Vegetation is the plant cover of an area. Vegetation is the plant cover of an area. Vegetation is the plant cover of an area. We can also say vegetation is the plant life of an area. The plant life of an area. That's how you are also told in primary 4. Many times children say the green cover. Sometimes vegetation may not be green. So don't say the green cover. You can say the plant cover of an area or the plant life of an area. So after that, we need to know also the types of vegetation. Types of vegetation. In primary 4, you also taught the types of vegetation. Do you know some of them? Yes. Okay. Types of vegetation. 1, we have natural vegetation. We have natural vegetation. Then type number 2, we have planted vegetation. Types of vegetation, we have natural vegetation and then planted vegetation. Can also be called plantation vegetation. Meaning of natural vegetation. What is natural vegetation? What is natural vegetation? Natural vegetation is the plant life that grows on its own. The plant life that grows on its own. There is no person who takes care of it. It grows on its own. That one, the vegetation that grows on its own, is called natural vegetation. What about planted vegetation? Planted vegetation is the plant life that grows by man's effort. Planted vegetation grows by man's effort. So you can just give the difference between planted vegetation and natural vegetation. What will you say? Say natural vegetation grows on its own, while planted vegetation grows by man's effort. Let's look at something else. Examples of natural vegetation. Examples of vegetation that grows on its own. Do you know some of them? Could you give me some answers? Yes, I know you know some. Let's look at this. 1, we have natural forests. Natural forests or natural trees. Trees that grow on their own. The examples of natural vegetation. We also have grasslands, like this grass in the compound, the grass in the bush there. We also have shrubs. These ones are found in semi-arid areas. Then we also have swamp vegetation. Have you ever been to a swamp? That grass that grows in the swamp is not planted by man. It grows on its own. It's called swamp vegetation. Let's proceed. We can also look at the examples of planted vegetation. Do you know some of the vegetation that is planted by human beings around your compound there, in your garden? Could you give me some examples of vegetation that is planted by man? Okay, I know you know the answers. Let's look at this. 1, we have planted trees. Have you ever planted a tree? Have you ever seen trees that were planted by human beings? Those are examples of planted vegetation. We also have planted flowers, like those flowers in your compound there. But there are also flowers that are natural. That's why we say planted flowers. Not all flowers are planted. Some are natural, but here we are saying planted flowers. What else? We have crops. Do you know crops? Can you give me examples of crops? You know them. So crops, the ones we grow in our garden, they are for survival. Those are planted. such as maize, beans, cassava. That is planted. So have you known the examples of planted vegetation? Okay, that's good. We have planted trees, we have planted flowers, we have crops. Don't just say flowers, because there are other flowers which grow on their own. Then in the next topic, in the next subtopic, we shall be looking at types of natural vegetation. Types of natural vegetation. Natural vegetation is also subdivided into other types. So, what are the types of natural vegetation? We have one, savanna vegetation. Savanna vegetation. We have equatorial vegetation, also known as tropical rainforests. Equatorial vegetation, also known as tropical rainforests. We have semi-arid vegetation. Semi-arid vegetation, which is also which grows in semi-arid areas like Karamoja sub-region. We also have another type of natural vegetation called mountain vegetation. Mountain, where do you think this one grows from? Around mountainous areas. Mountainous areas such as Mount Rwenzori, Mount Elgon, Mount Mfumbiro. Those are around that area we find mountain vegetation. What we have just given are called the types of natural vegetation. Types of natural vegetation. Types of natural vegetation, we have savanna vegetation, we have uh, equatorial vegetation, we have semi-arid vegetation, we have mountain vegetation. So when we come next time, we shall now look at each type of natural vegetation. Each type of natural, talk about it one at a time. Thank you for being good listeners, good learners. May the Almighty God protect you and keep you alive for the next lesson. God bless you. Bye-bye.